Good evening, everybody. I'm not sure in the audience how much you know about what we've been doing at the council with a CCO review through 2014. We were asked to have a look at the CCO model for Auckland. Was it fit for purpose? Was it delivering the things that Aucklanders want and need? And I'm guessing if this is anything like a typical audience in Auckland, we'll have a pretty split vote if we asked you to put up your hand who likes the CCO model and who doesn't. Putting that to one side, because we're not asking you to have a vote about that tonight, we are embarking on one of the important outcomes from that review, which is to try and put something into the architecture of the organisations that are taking Auckland forward that we felt was missing. And what we felt was missing was taking some of our assets, land and property that the council does not need in the near future, and the very best of the innovation and the forward thinking that you see from Waterfront Auckland, and say, what if we created a bigger organisation with more capacity and the learnings to be able to draw those two threads together and to make a very, very important contribution to one of the goals in the Auckland plan, which is to radically improve the quality of urban living in Auckland. And we're very fortunate that we have moved on from a debate about whether we're in housing or not as a council. And obviously we're not in housing if you think about the state, about the government. We don't intend to run a housing estate for the people of Auckland. But what we do is we design and we master plan places and communities, and we deliver 80% of the infrastructure that supports those communities to exist. And we thought there was a significant opportunity to do that in a far, far more paced manner. So if you think about how long it's taken to turn the vision of Wynyard Quarter into real things, revamped streets, sustainable planning outcomes, positive contribution to the receiving environment, and a place where people want to come. It may not be affordable, other than in your sleeping bag and waterproof gear, but hey, the concept is important, because if we can replicate this in other parts of Auckland and we can actually nail affordability by working with the private sector, we will have other parts of Auckland that are currently undeveloped, huge untapped potential. We can turn those into places that we'll be proud of and will attract large numbers of Aucklanders to live, work and play in those areas. And that is our greatest metro urban challenge, is to try and design this region and to create places where people can live, work and play in a smaller geographic context, so that they aren't trying to drive their V8 from place to place to have fun, a job, drop the kids off at school or whatever it might be, because it's not working. And in every city around the globe, the proof that you cannot build your way out of congestion and still allow people to be the single occupant in a private motor vehicle to travel to work, it does not work. And there are 50 to 100 examples of cities like that over decades who can prove that to Aucklanders. And for those of you that get on a plane and visit those places, you know them well. You do know them, you see them. So we have to do something in Auckland that is transformational, and we believe that Development Auckland is going to be the genesis of that change, building on the things that have been achieved in Wynyard Quarter, building on the Waterfront master plan and the city centre master plan. We are going to have tens of thousands of new jobs and people living in your city centre and down through Wynyard Quarter. And we want to take those learnings, take that experience and apply it to other locations in Auckland that, if left to the private sector, they may never see significant private sector investment in the way that we think we can attract it by bringing our land, Crown land, iwi interests, the developer community to the table to say, we would like to master plan this part of Auckland and generate a very, very positive outcome. So in less than, is it 17th here? So less than 2 weeks, Development Auckland will be formed. They'll be in an accommodation at the Pier 21 building. So Auckland Council Properties Limited and Waterfront Auckland. Technically, it'll be a company merger, and we'll use the Waterfront Auckland entity because it's got assets and liabilities and a proper balance sheet. We'll use that to be the surviving entity with a new name, Development Auckland. And I'd have to say it's a credit to there's a number of people in the room tonight who have helped to prepare this new entity, and it will be launched with very little fanfare and with a smoothness that we are very pleased about. The Development Auckland board have all been selected, they've been announced. We're getting ready for a 1 September launch. People will be moving, offices on the 28th of August, and we've enjoyed tremendous stakeholder support for the establishment of Development Auckland, and we're delighted by that. Very strong political support both within central government and within our own council group. And we're looking forward to what possibilities we might be able to showcase for you and other communities as we go forward. So big move, probably not on your radar, but one day it will be, and we're intending that we can make an enormous contribution to, as I say, the quality of urban living in Auckland, provide some opportunities to significantly accelerate the provision of affordable living choices in other parts of Auckland where you won't be able to afford that view, but why should the living experience itself be vastly inferior to that? It shouldn't, and that's what we're aimed at doing. So thanks very much.